Hello, this is Eleanor Roosevelt welcoming you to the first episode of Futile and Stupid Gestures. In this series, Warren Wernick curates selected passages from so-called self-help books and has them read by different historical figures in their relevant fields.
Compassion and Self-Hate, An Alternative to Despair. By Theodore Isaac Rubin.
Life is tough. How can it be otherwise? As people, we are more than complex. We are also the most sensitive, vulnerable, and aware creatures on Earth. Our awareness keeps us in constant touch with the extremely tenuous aspects of human existence. More than any other creatures, we know and can anticipate, and despite efforts to the contrary, do anticipate the loss of loved ones and loss of ourselves. We call upon ourselves to be involved, to invest great emotion, to participate, and to love life, and this is good. But our very love makes our losses that much more poignant and painful, and this, too, is part of the human condition in its natural and healthy state.
As human beings, we are blessed with a capacity for communication and relating that is unique on our planet. But this very language ability contains its ambiguities and limitations, making communication breakdown common and even rampant. How many times I have seen two people whom I know to be in basic agreement arguing vehemently because of language misunderstanding. The very stuff of language makes for compassionate possibility and the most vindictive possibility.
Knowledge and fear of the finiteness of life and communication breakdown often make for great fear, paranoia, hunger for power, and psychotic enterprises like war. Inability to express ourselves adequately, either because of personal limitations or situational difficulty, creates great frustration and rage. Knowledge of our species' superiority creates feelings and demands for omnipotence and eternal power, generating further communication breakdown. Too often we use our considerable assets against ourselves and each other, making life even tougher than it has to be.
Despite these assets, we never are adequately prepared for the onslaughts life brings us. Sickness, suffering, and death cannot be avoided. At best, we struggle to survive and to enjoy our lives as we can. But we have problems with ourselves and each other. We so need each other and yet, paradoxically, find it so hard to be with each other. We have problems making compassionate, functional, and realistic use of our Earth's resources.
Knowing that life is tough is an extremely valuable and compassionate process. Just knowing this and accepting it as part of the life process makes living easier and better. It cuts down inappropriate efforts and striving for non-existent security. It helps us to retreat from life establishing, nor is it an easy road to take. It helps us appreciate our efforts and their results. It helps to soften disappointments born of expectations bred in the erroneous belief that life is easy or that an easy life exists but somehow eludes us, alone.
Reality is the best friend of compassion, and the fact of the toughness of life is a reality of prime importance. An important adjunct of reality is the fact that we human beings are pretty tough, too. If we have unduly fragile concepts of ourselves, this is to a large extent the result of an illusion that we are invulnerable and impervious. When we feel fragile, we cut ourselves off from our real resources and strengths. Actually, we are tough. We are resourceful, and for the most part, we manage very well.
There is much in life that will always remain imperceptible, unattainable, uncontrollable, and unpredictable. We cannot climb every mountain and cross every river and anticipate every pitfall. We are sometimes right and often wrong. We must fight for the right to fail and to be wrong. In this way, we don't make life tougher than it is, and we become tougher and stronger by giving ourselves these human rights. These rights enhance our flexibility and being able to bend. We don't break and crack because of rigidity. At best, life still remains uncontrollable, unpredictable, finite. This is not a bitter, cynical, hopeless, or depressing statement. It is only depressing if one retains imaginary heaven-on-earth illusions and uses them as a comparison. It is a real fact, a compassionate fact. Deep inner knowledge of it enhances our compassion and appreciation for ourselves, for our struggles, and for the human condition generally.
Compassion makes life easier, but is in no way a retreat from life, nor is it an easy road to take. In establishing an increasingly realistic frame of reference, compassion has the effect of thrusting us into the very middle of ourselves and into the middle of life generally. With fewer and less devastating wounds, withdrawal and resignation become much less common. This increased satisfaction and less fear of recrimination, creative aspects of ourselves can be realized and used, and we are more freer to move in the direction of increased involvement and participation in life's activities generally.
Developing compassion for ourselves inevitably results in developing compassion for our fellows and for the life process that we all share. Relating on a more realistic level to ourselves and to our fellows makes life easier and happier. The struggle for compassion is not easy. Like life itself, it is tough. One that's engaged on a serious level. It goes on all of our lives as we continue to grow all of our lives.
We never reach an absolute state of grace with ourselves, nor do we attain a compassionate psychophilosophy that functions without any delusion at all. The battle against self-hate is never complete. Being compassionate is not a static condition nor a status quo. Compassion is a life process, and as such, it is compassionate and realistic only if we view it on a relative basis. If we live in a state of compassionate struggle against self-hate and are developing a relatively compassionate psychophilosophy, we are realistically and constructively helping ourselves.
I do my thing, and you do your thing. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you, and I am I, and if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped.
In other words, go fuck yourself.
Hello, oh, hi. I was. Yes. Yes. I see. Sure, but if you would, yes, no, can I just? If I could just get, but yes, but you see if. Yes. Okay, but. Sure. I understand, no problem. Before you go, let me ask. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play?